welcome to the first session of the Blue House Secrets and Knowledge, man. So we are trying to come to a point of a conversation where, we try and do our part to enlighten the path of others, featuring me, Charles, and Mr. Alan here, who's my main guest. And then we got our other homies too, and yeah, man. So what we trying to do here is we trying to speak about the human condition and the whole human experience and all the bullshit that's happening right now and what has happened in the past and the future of our civilization and the consciousness of our people in all aspects as well. Looking at where we basically come from, what's the purpose of our existence, and just vaguely speaking about the main current affairs that's happening in the world. So hopefully you guys can add what you guys can add, and then we can go there. So the first part that we actually going to focus on is the current state globally, the collective consciousness of human beings. And I feel like this is a very important topic to actually start off with because this is the state that we at. We basically at the crossroads. We at the Route 66 of our lives. And I feel like we have to have these type of conversations so that, we can reach where we can, enlighten where we can and seek more enlightenment ourselves through this journey. So, Alan, what you think, man? I'll start off with, what do you think about this whole situation that we find ourselves in? We're in the midst of a pandemic, a so-called pandemic.
So-called
pandemic.
So-called.
We're looking at the poverty and all of the shit that's happening in the world, and the whole wealth distribution, and the different how a few people in the world have gained so much power over the years, and the rat race and all this shit, the governments and all that. So what's your take on what's happening right now? How do you see what's happening on your side?
Bro, I think the number one issue that we have to deal with is like on an individual level, understand that we all need each other. Like we all brothers in the first place. We all come from the same place, And like once we understand that, I think everything is just gonna flow. Like get rid of greediness and like the need for power, the need to want and control everything. Yeah, that's
the way I look at it. That's like the main things that are the main problem. Like those concepts, those elements of power, and control, and the concept of brotherhood. I would probably assume that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
The concept of brotherhood is something we've always had. I think we've had that in the past. We've lived that whole brotherhood, and then somewhere along the lines we lost that as not only Africans, but then as a human civilization. And there's that part, man, where there was a greed factor. I think greed is also that factor that you also mentioned. The greed being a very, very big topic, because now we're seeing ourselves and we're looking at ourselves as the average man, right? Everyone is living their own lives, and seems like we're living a very standard life compared to what is very possible, right? And then we have a select higher class that has been, controlling things for the past few, probably century or centuries,
it's been a
if
long
I should
time,
say
man.
that, And it seems like a lot of the things that have been in the system are still very evident and present in the current systems today. And, like those things come from somewhere.
Yeah, but
I always feel like history
little
repeats itself.
things, like practical things. Like you said, we're in the midst of a pandemic, right? People are dying. They come up with a vaccine, and you have all those developed countries, first world power, whatever. They buy vaccines for so many people, twice, 3 times their population, just so that, okay, we have it. And then the rest of the world is dying. If, as we understand, it's a pandemic, people are dying, like, why would you even do that?
That one is it's a crazy one, man. Because of obviously the narrative around it, and obviously how people think about it, And I look at how, different, it seems like people are very split nowadays because, they've been pandemics before. We've been in pandemics before. Like history keeps repeating itself, and it's not the first time we're at this stage, but then it seems like the stage we're in is like, again, the crossroads, where it feels like there's a lot of people on one side and there's a lot of people on the other side, and there's this whole segregation amongst us as a civilization just because of certain current affairs like the pandemic itself. Because now you've got the whole vaccine thing, which is also a very controversial topic because you get censored very quickly online if you start talking about fucking vaccines and shit like that. And I've actually experienced that. I actually just posted some shit like probably like 4 months ago. And I thought my shit was actually getting traction. I posted on one of those type of groups like on Facebook. And it got some good reception because a lot of people actually resonated with that information. But then I think...
What were you saying?
I was basically saying, like, speaking my mind, speaking my opinion, And I said, I believe that these particular vaccines are not going to be as effective for each variant that's going to come out. So I feel like we are going to have many vaccines and shots and whatnot afterwards over time. And then at that time, it seemed like a fucking conspiracy because obviously, shut the fuck up. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Let's just fucking censor him, And then that post was basically removed. It's just a fucking post. But like, you're also trying to also communicate out there, and say, hey, what the fuck's going on, guys? Like, what do you guys think about this? This is my opinion, but then let's actually have a whole conversation. Let's open up the topic, And now people talk, okay, I remember the whole thing that they were saying there were like mRNA chips and all that type of shit. I looked into it, but then I didn't really try and take it as it came because, you'll believe anything. There's a lot of misinformation. We're in the era of misinformation. So you might think you saw CNN post this, but then some people we're in new technology. This is 2022. People can just make it seem like CNN said this. We got shit like deep fakes and all of that. And, you can make up. I remember what was it? Key and Peele, one of the guys from Key and Peele, literally made a deep fake video of Obama. And he was talking like Obama, like it's an AI software that can type out whatever you like, can say whatever you typed out
with Obama's voice.
With Obama's voice and video.
Okay.
Like it just looks like he's just talking there and he's talking, and then he starts talking some shit. You're like, wait, why would the president say that? And then he starts saying that. I think it was Peele. Was it Peele? I think it was Peele who said that shit. And you realize that you can't really trust anything that you actually see in the media, And media also plays a huge part of it. What do you think about that?
No, it does. It does. I mean, media that's how they control the population. That's how they control the people. If they want you to think or behave a certain way, they'll go through the media, bro. Whatever they want you to understand or think about, the media is the tool, number one.
Yeah. I feel like media has had a huge role, especially like when you look back, like when we jump onto like history, like you look at the history of where this human civilization came and all that, and all the systems we put in place. And then you look at things like the media, like during like World War I and World War II, and how they played a huge role into that, like how people thought, like how, this is what I'm saying, like people never said no to the government back in the day. You understand? Only nowadays we are starting to be like, hey, we actually should tune these guys, like let's gather up a little bit and tune these guys. We have more rights. You understand? And with all these rights that we have now has been a whole evolution of our systems that eventually we came to a certain level of consciousness where we were like, no, this is bullshit. We have to change our ways to a certain extent. We haven't completely accomplished it, but then roughly, right? But then when you look at World War One and World War Two, right, you see that World War One, I remember I think World War One started with, I think it was Austria, Hungary,
Austria,
and
Hungary.
Serbia as well. So there was that whole war between that, and it was very preventable. I remember reading about it, and it was very preventable, that whole thing. But then just because the bigger powers who kept on giving money, see now where money also comes into the whole conversation, that money became something that a select group of Europeans had a lot of money and then started giving these other smaller countries or smaller coalitions power to actually get more weaponry and start doing their shit. So then you just start a situation there, and then you hope somebody catches it there, and then you're only playing the silent game of the money trail, right? They start getting excited. They know they're getting a blank check. You go into your whole military exercises and all that bullshit, and then eventually your actual competitor is going to also get themselves involved. Then you get involved. No one wants to seem like the bad guy in history, right? And then you get World War II, where we start seeing that, okay, now people start using money for only military. Like most countries are only using it military. You understand? And then this is how we even started developing like the atomic bombs and all that type of shit. Like all of those crazy shit that we're doing, like where does it come from? Like what state of consciousness were we in for us to even start those destructive paths? Because like
bro, we are in the same type of consciousness right now. Nothing's changed because you're talking about World War II. They started developing like weapons, mass destruction and whatever. Today you have biologic weapons, bro. You still have nuclear weapon. You have poverty. You have social media. You have all those things that they, like. You have diseases,
new ones, new diseases,
new
all
variant
the time,
and stuff, bro. Like
variant 2.0.
I don't think it's changed. Like for me, I think things are getting worse, bro.
Do you think maybe it's like a repeat of history happening again because we are almost like in a loop? Or maybe is it because it is just destiny? We're just destined to be like that. Obviously, there has to be 2 points to the whole topic.
I don't know if we're destined to be like that, bro. But
okay. Well, that's what I believe as well. Like, I don't think we are doomed for eternal damnation type of shit. But I feel like it's nature. You think we're still in that level of consciousness? Like where we just haven't grown up as a civilization. Like if you think about it, guys, we're a young species. We haven't been around for that long, especially Homo sapiens, if we look at it that way. We haven't been around for long. So from that period till now, like, yes, we've developed tools and technological advancements and all of that shit. But then have we really grown though? What do you think?
What's not that long? When you say we, you're talking about the human species, I guess.
Human species, like
but
the so-called
what's
conscious
not
one.
that long? And how do you define it not being long? Is it according to, okay, let's say the world has been there for maybe 2 billion years, and then we started existing from like, I don't know, 2 million or 3 million. So like there's a huge gap between where the world started and where humans started. But then still
100%.
we started a long time ago and we don't even know how. We don't know what state of consciousness we started in. Like if we go according to the scientific point of view, we started as like cells, and then whatever we evolve into human beings. But then even the human beings started from low level of consciousness
100%,
to
yes.
what we
Tribal,
are.
Stone Age, and all that
To
type of
what
shit,
we
yes.
are right now. But then you have the other side of the coin where we started in a state of consciousness that was elevated, that's like, you're one with the world, one with God. And then we fell.
Yeah, there was a dip. There was a dip somewhere. There's somewhere where we slipped.
So depending on where, like where you find yourself, it's either nature, either we're going to, get worse and worse, or we're going to get better and better, but eventually there gotta be an end to it, bro. If it started somewhere, then it has to end at some point.
Yeah, like I feel like it's all. I actually want to get back to when you say it's nature. The basically our current condition, like basically like where everything almost happens like a loop versus like is it just doomed for eternal damnation type of shit? Like we're just gonna keep going in this fucking hellish experience. We're gonna like start as a fucking tribe, advance, become highly
And then
advanced,
fall again.
blow ourselves up, nuclear war, start from
over.
fresh, fucking, all that bullshit. And then we go back to systems, governments again, that whole structure and all that bullshit. What do you think? Actually, let's get this actually closer. Yeah, man. I don't know if it'll be able to hear you from here though. But then yeah. Yeah. So what do you think? Like, basically, I'm saying like, if you look at it from the concept of where we're coming from, our conscious, like it's the consciousness state that I'm trying to like look at, and are we actually in that loop, or in that? You said something about nature. Like I'm just trying to get that.
I think, bro, like basically, conflict is part of our innate nature. Like whether we look at ourselves as humans or we look at animals, it's just a matter of conflict. But at the same time, if that village fights with this one wins, conquers. Eventually, they're gonna be working together and looking at the same direction, and then look at other places to find conflict.
Yeah.
So I think it's a part of nature, whether it's us looking at it as it's recurring, it's like we're caught in a cycle, or whether we're moving to a more extreme level of whatever this is. But I think it's just going back to our nature as people, as conflict beings. Like if I want to eat, if I'm a lion or something,
Looking
and I
out
wanna
for your
eat,
own.
of course,
shit.
I'm gonna start some conflict with that deer.
Yeah.
When I'll eat, man, like I don't know if it's what's this word? I don't know if it's self-preservation
Okay.
or something like that, but I feel like it's the same thing that's gonna stop you if you try and drown yourself in a bathtub. Like you wanna jump out, right?
Yeah.
Even if you're in a freaking ocean, like you're gonna struggle. Even though you put yourself there, you're probably gonna give up. Yeah, but at some point you're gonna struggle. So I think that's that.
Yeah.
Self-preservation.
You know what I think now. I think with especially that the whole self-preservation thing. Nah. When we look at ourselves and you say you come back to our nature, right? That is a very vital point because our nature is on a specific level of consciousness as well. You understand? I think nature in itself is like the highest level of consciousness, right? And nature in itself. You understand? I don't think you can get any higher consciousness than nature itself. If you follow nature, everything goes accordingly in certain ways. But then now the nature of man became tainted at one point in our history, right? And then now it comes to that need. I think it's like, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs type of shit, right? And then you have like your physiological needs. And then you have your security, your safety and all that shit, like your job security and all that. And then you go obviously towards like your self-esteem and then your self-actualization type of shit. And I think, well, we'll probably get into that eventually at a later stage. But like there's also parts where like ancient civilizations would even speak about that. Like, like they'll speak about like the whole meditation thing, right? And you'd be in a state of meditation, and then you have your 7 chakras, almost representative of like a Maslow's hierarchy of needs type of shit, right? Explaining our true consciousness. You understand? So obviously it was the Hindu. I think it was more like the Hindu scripts back in the like. This was during Krishna and all of them. Like there's these ancient scripts where they would speak about Kundalini yoga, right? And then with Kundalini yoga, like there's the lower chakras. There's I think it's the root chakra, the solar plexus, I can't remember the other one, fucking heart chakra, throat chakra, third eye, and the crown chakra type of thing. And that showed that when they spoke about it, like ancient civilizations have spoken about their state of consciousness being just looking for food, being survival mode type of shit. You understand? Like everyone's on survival mode because we're on the root chakra. Root chakra basically focusing on the physiological needs, the shit that is at the lower spectrum of who we truly are. We're on that body materialistic level of consciousness. You understand? Rather than, like monks, bro. Monks don't even have to eat for shit. Those motherfuckers can chill without eating for a while. Like their body listens to their soul. Like it's at the same frequency. They know how to slow their system down. But then us constantly feeding, chowing, trying to get sex left, right, and center. We just hungry. We're just hungry for everything. But then now you elevate your level of consciousness, which is what humanity is trying to do, I believe, right? Obviously, it's an opinion. But
That is what humanity is trying to do.
To elevate
Are we really
out
trying
of
to
that.
do that?
Because look, let's look at it this way. I look at it. Like there's a
Are
lot
we
of
really
groups,
trying to do that,
Yes, there's a
though?
lot of groups nowadays, more than ever in human history, that has literally come together discussing these type of topics that we're talking about right now, right? And trying to elevate their consciousness to love consciousness. Because in reality, everyone always says there's love and hate. But then rather there's love and fear, because hate is literally comes from fear in itself. You understand? So it's love and fear. Those two concepts. Yeah? But then love in itself is an energy in itself. And then fear in itself is like the negative energy. You understand? So there's like love is the positive energy. Like in science, they'll probably call it like love, positive energy. And then fear would be negative energy, right? Obviously, there's positive and negative. There's the yin and yang. There's that whole concept. You understand? The whole duality aspect, right? And then now when you look at that whole love perspective is basically like our true intentions as human beings. Like deep down inside a criminal, at some level, majority of them, I'm not saying all of them, majority of them, something happened in their life that led to that particular mentality to do that. But then naturally a human being in a stable environment, most likely, not all likely, I'm sure there's like people who've grown up rich, they've grown up in a rich family and still went to go do the craziest shit. But that's very few and far between. Most of them just like fucking live their lives, they continue on that shit. But then maybe there's lack of love. There's just more money, there's lack of love. So you'll end up going to do a heinous crime type of shit. And then you like, it's literally either way. You understand? And there's a fear. You understand? The fear aspect, when I explain like fear, I'm saying that the powers at hand, for example, there's a certain level of fear, governments as well, that if we give too much power to the people, it'll derail our current systems already. And then we will not be eating the way we've been eating all along. And I want to always compete with this guy to become better than this guy. You understand? Instead of like, I know it's very far-fetched when I say healthy competition. There's the concept of healthy competition. But then the way people are doing it is like, I want to be better than this motherfucker. You understand? Like our state of fear towards even the government itself. Bruh, like the government is working for us. Like they literally work for us.
And
But
that's
then
how it was designed, but
it was supposed to
that's
be
how it's supposed to be.
by the Constitution. However, those who kept on writing all of that shit basically flipped the script. Now it's almost like we believe that we're supposed to be doing shit for them. Do you understand? That whole imbalance, all our resources belong to a select group. You understand? And we are scared to confront them, but it's our shit. But there's more of us. It's like that one bully that's bullying everyone. Literally everyone, but everyone is scared to just pile up together and go fuck him up. That's what it is. You understand? So the love concept comes to me and you are the same person, right? We're the same species. We are different versions of the same thing, right? That concept of seeing one other as yourself, literally saying what's mine is yours to a certain extent. Obviously, it'll take time for us to just like give anything. Like, hey man, just take my wife, it's cool. I don't know if we'll ever come to that state. But then that whole sharing aspect, you understand? If more people helped more people, there's more business that just circulates over a period of time. For an example, look at this. If the billionaires, now, if the billionaires literally reinvested in the world, the first few, whoever does it first, or very quickly, or the first few who do it, they have a longer reign in the business world. You understand? Because now you change your policies to the way probably nature is supposed to be, the way you're supposed to be amongst the fucking civilization, to keep that sustainability. Sustainability is not going to happen when everybody's trying to shoot each other, fucking kill each other and all that type, steal from each other, steal your taxes, steal this, steal that. Two presidents, these motherfuckers are just basically telling us what they would do with our money. They're like investors. They're like brokers. There's two candidates that come and tell you that, hey, look, I'm going to build more houses for you guys. Hey, you want more houses? Okay, cool. You want some more jobs? I'll get you more jobs. Yeah. Every year you've heard the whole same script for decades. Nothing has changed. Same party, same everything. Nothing has changed around this policy. Nothing's going to change, especially if a party or something or a candidate's party is decades and decades old and they've been leaders for Nah, bruh, we've given you a chance. Let's go somewhere else. There's not enough healthy competition, or there's not enough funding for the healthy competition, let me rather say. You understand? And then like you start seeing the imbalance of the government versus society as well. You understand? Because like society has no say in most of the things that happen. This whole lockdown bullshit, bro. Like, hey, man, if I want to die, I want to die, man. I just need to go do what I'm doing. I'm living life. What are you trying to do? But then I understand when people say, just to keep yourself safe, keep other people safe, just isolate and all that shit. Isolate. We isolated. And then I realized that isolation doesn't help for shit. People are still going to be people. People are going to keep doing what people are going to do. Nobody wants to be, I'm sure most people are claustrophobic. Nobody wants to be locked in for too long. If you look at it that way, like the way we've designed our whole system around bullshit and fear. We live a fear-based reality where we are scared to act. We just wanna be comfortable. We're scared of losing our job. We're scared of saying this. We're scared of this person. We're scared of that person. We're scared of that big company. We're scared of, we're always scared. Rather than a love-based reality where people literally help each other. And helping each other fucking clearly works. I've tried it a lot of times through my life and fucking clearly has worked for me. Has worked for a lot of people that I also fucking know to a certain extent. We're trying to master it. You can never just master it. That's the problem. It's not about, I think it was a Buddhist philosophy, Buddhist philosophy, where they actually spoke about that. But, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey itself. So the journey to mastery is actually greater than the mastery itself. You understand? Okay. So you just try your best to just try and not fuck over people as much as you can. And I feel like that's the problem. Like even what's happening up there is reflecting also down here. People just, fuck you, dude. I just want to do what I'm doing.
Do you guys think like there's a true nature?
A true nature?
Yeah.
I think spiritually we are maybe like the same nature. To a certain extent.
Do you think there's a true nature? And if there's a true nature, do you think it's constant throughout all of us?
What do you mean by true nature?
Exactly that. Like there's this
absolute truth.
Yeah, kind of thing. Do you think there's such a thing?
It's actually funny because we were having a conversation a few days ago, and this is the question, exactly the question that I was asking, this is also something I wonder, is there such a thing as like this is the truth? and this is something that is true for everyone, regardless, of if you believe it or not. Even you check. So this is the truth, and I think there must be. That's what I want to think. There must be.
Yeah.
Let's say, for instance, bro, like we focus at this whole, what you call it, scientific perspective of where we come from, like that whole evolution thing, right? And then there's a dude or lady or whatever. I hope that doesn't sound disrespectful, but from over there, right? That evolved into this human. Yeah. I don't want to speak about levels like Homo sapien or what, but let's just say human. Yeah. And this other side of the world, some other human also grew and evolved into what they are. Now, as this person from this side, I've never seen anyone like me. And then this dude from over there, he's never seen anyone like him. And then as we cross in the world, we happen to come upon each other, like we see each other across the pond or some shit while we're getting something to drink. Right? Are we going to react the same way? Or am I going to react differently and he's going to react a different way? Like we haven't been influenced by anything else other than...
So you mean like a human nature?
Yes. I think I get it. Is there a true human nature?
Okay.
And if so, is it constant?
Okay. I think. What do you think, Alan? Let's start with you, actually.
Nah, I think there is. I think there is. Like humans are humans. Like regardless of where you're coming from, there's that thing that makes us human. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's, you can say the soul, but it's that thing that we share. We all have.
Like our makeup, like our just molecules.
It's like when you say, is there one true nature of a human? Firstly, yes, I wholeheartedly believe that. You see that thing that I said earlier, that we are what? We are individuations of the same thing. We're just different versions of the same thing. Yeah. You understand? Because if a person dies, like, we don't even know if you're black or white. Your skeleton is your skeleton. You understand? Maybe there might be certain traits over a period of time and evolution that might say, might seem like a black guy, because mainly we've done so much work over time. We've realized the change in evolution in black men. You understand those type of things? Like, in that sense, rather that's the small differences. But besides that, everything, majority of everyone is the same by body.
No, yeah, but that's by body now.
Look, I'm saying by body. We're 3-part beings. So that's by the surface. Just the surface. We are the same by the surface. Then the mind, again, you guys don't know where your guys' thoughts are coming from. Nobody knows where their thoughts are coming from. Sometimes you're just like, hey, why would I even think of such a thing? I don't think like that. But then thoughts just come and filter into your mind. So we all have this brain and this mind. But then you see, this is why I always say there's a difference between brain and mind. So, but then the mind is like the metaphysical aspect of who you are. You understand? It's like the first level, and the soul is like the last or the second or the third, basically. You understand? So when you look at it that side, physical, we look the same. We are the same, right? Whether we're black, white, colored, Indian, Chinese, anything, we're all the same. Mentally, we also have that Maslow's hierarchy of needs type of mentality. We're all trying to get to that level of self-actualization. You understand? Trying to get to that higher state. It's like we're almost driven to highness, like to a higher enlightenment, or just like a different level. We're always trying to go to a different level. And
I mean,
think
I understand that you might, some people might, but some people, they're just living for their pleasure. They're not trying to get to any level of consciousness of what I do, what I want to do.
But then if you say pleasure, there's a certain, you see, pleasure is a very tricky one because even those people that you say are just living for pleasure. Okay, let's say a pleasure like what? Doing drugs, right? Maybe you're doing heroin. It's still a pleasure. You know, you probably not trying to get to self-actualization. You're just enjoying life and enjoying the pleasure of taking heroin. But then the thing is that pleasure of heroin is going to lead to a higher pleasure automatically. It's natural. So you're going to get tired of this. You're going to go one level forward. You understand? You're always going to want that one more, the next one, the higher one. You understand? So you can't stay in heroin, bro. Like for you to just maybe, let's say you started shooting once a day and then now you're at like 8 a day or 10 a day. For you to keep just at 10 a day, at some point it's going to go to 12 a day.
Yeah.
Because your body is gaining tolerance over
And
it.
then 30
so
and
that
50.
pleasure, you're going to keep going at it. So there's that natural state of progression in anything that you do. You always want to do better at something. Even drumming, you can hit your drums here and whatnot, but then you're always trying to get better. So everything always wants to get better, to a better state. There's that, I don't know, like that's just how I look at it.
But when you say,
How would you sum up like self-actualization?
Self-actualization is basically the way I would sum it up. It's more like a different state of consciousness, the highest state of consciousness that you can reach as a person. Whether you think of it in the way society has structured it or the way it actually is spiritually, you understand? But then it's that higher state of consciousness where you've reached almost like a continuous state of great evolution. Like you as your soul, mind, body, and soul, you are basically progressing. So it's like you're at mind, body, and soul consciousness type of shit. So meaning that you can be, you can be rich, reach that rich state or that wealthy, let's not say rich, wealthy state, right? But then you're still not happy. So there's something else that's missing. So you're not at self-actualizations, whether you got a Bugatti or not, you're not at self-actualization. Then you start going into fucking yoga and meditation and all that. And then you start
personal
getting
development and
personal
stuff.
development and all that shit. Then you start gaining a sense of my mind is actually happy. Like I'm getting all the knowledge I need. Then they're almost there. But then spiritual, once you get to that spiritual state of consciousness, you basically at self-actualization. Because now you feel like you are in no need of anything. That level of consciousness is what almost us, like what we're trying to get to. You want to not
Is
need
this
anything.
what self-actualization is? Because
No, it's what I would sum it as, not what it is.
Okay, okay.
That's why what he said was
Okay,
important.
okay.
Yeah.
Because I think the way I understand it is self-actualization is actually when you feel like you're doing what you're meant to do. You check, and that's a different thing than what you were just explaining right now. You see, because you can get to that level of consciousness, like in Maslow's theory, right? It's a pyramid.
Yeah.
So in order to get to self-actualization, you have to go through the other steps.
Yes.
Basically, you're living a comfortable life, like you have money, you have job security, you have a house, you're good. And once all that is taken care of, that's when you can self-actualize or whatever, how you say it.
Yeah.
But in the other way, you actually have to get rid of all these earthly pleasure or earthly desires in order to get to that level. So it's like two different things.
No, but then that's basically what I'm saying, because I said you want to get to a point where you're not trying to need anything, which is earthly pleasures. So you're not trying to need anything. You're at a stage where you're not at need. You have actualized who you truly are as a person, and then every other thing else doesn't really matter. It's just materialistic things that you have. So there are people who are at that level. And some people, it's not even about the money aspect. The whole journey to self-actualization, the way I was describing it is like for the average person. You understand? Then there's still Buddhists. Buddhists go through a different state where they just don't need food for a few days. I don't need food for a couple of days. Water, all of that shit. You understand? They can self-sustain. That's a different level of self-actualization. So self-actualization can be put in almost any category, right? And then when you say it's like it's something that you feel like something you wanted to do, or something that
No,
something that you had,
it's like you're basically living your purpose.
your purpose.
Yeah.
The thing is that, okay, there are some people who actualize their purpose way earlier. They actualize, they actually see it, right, where they're supposed to go. Like, you could be a musician, could be an actor, you could be whatever talent you have. You can see it from early. But then you go through that journey and then you get there. Right? But then you're still going through your Maslow's hierarchy of needs, knowingly that, okay, I still need a place to stay, I still need electricity, I still need water, I still need this. And then you go to a next level. I need a house that has a certain level of security, because now I'm working like this and I'm starting to do this. And then you go, and then you go, and then you go. You start getting rich, you're like, I don't think I need the next Louis Vuitton bag. I don't need the next Ferrari. I don't need the next Mercedes Benz, whatever the fuck it is. Then you realize your materialistic world is actually a bunch of bullshit. Then you start reading a shitload more. You start going into personal development, as you were saying. And then you go to a higher state of wealth. Now you're at a wealth state where your money just does whatever the hell it does. Now you are trying to find your deeper self, right? You're trying to get to that deeper self. Now, when you for trying to find your deeper self, a monk as well is found their deeper self. So when I was speaking about like comparing the Maslow's hierarchy to like the chakras, right? It's like the lower level is your root chakra. So majority of us are caught up in that root chakra. You understand? The survival of the fittest type of mentality. That's the mentality we still currently in. And this is why I agree with that part when he says that, yeah, well, nothing much has changed. You understand? Mentally, nothing has changed. Physically, a lot has changed. Like, we are very good on the physical spectrum. You understand? We know how to do shit that we probably not fucking supposed to be doing yet already. You understand? But then the mental part hasn't changed. We are still there. That's why I'm like, until we ourselves self-actualize, because human beings, majority of them do not know who they truly are. They don't know their true essence and their true condition of who they are, that true nature that you're speaking of. They don't truly know who they are. And then at this point, where I say it's like it's come to a breaking point. This breaking point is probably going to be one of the biggest in history. It's literally going to be between 2020 and 2030.
What kind of breaking point?
Breaking point of reveal of information. Like, we're coming to a point of information, right? And everything is coming out. And it seems like everything that is supposed reality is fabricated to a lot.
Everything that is?
Everything that is called reality is mostly like, it's mostly bullshit. Mm-hmm. It's mostly fabricated. A lot of information is coming out. We are in an age of information, and bruh, at some point people are going to come to a breaking point. People are coming to a breaking point. So many groups of people worldwide. If you are monitoring the whole Omicron, especially when Omicron hit, and when Omicron hit, when everybody was tired of vaccines. They were fucking tired of vaccines. They were tired of the government and the misinformation and the media and all of that type of shit. People were looking for better sources of information, right? People are trying to advance because they know that they've been lied to a shitload. Now, back in the day, for an example, I'll make America as an example, right? America as an example. There was about 60% to 70% of American adults trusted the government back in the 60s. In the 60s and the 70s. Nowadays, it's about 30%, 40%. It just shows, like, over a period of time, people just stopped trusting the government. And the thing is that the reality of it is, if we really gonna go to that concept of the government and how they basically fucking over society, right? And then you look at how many of us there are versus how much is of the government in itself, who actually are supposed to be working for us. That is their main reason for being here, for being in those particular positions. They're supposed to be working for society. Everything that they do is for society. But then it seems like they're doing it for themselves, right? And then you look at the banking system, right? The banking system is the biggest scam in history. That has been assured for days. People are starting to realize that, right? We are coming into an era of cryptocurrencies and NFTs and all this bullshit online, right? I'm a person who really believes in them and I really support in them because it almost decentralizes money from the hands of the 1% or the guys at the flipping top. You understand? So you have a better chance at creating wealth than if you were going the typical route because the system is not designed for you to go the typical route. It needs you to do something extra. Do you understand? You need to go battle those guys at the top. You understand? To get to where you really want to get to. Because people are tired. Like a lot of people are tired of 9 to 5s. I think this pandemic literally showed that people are advancing out of that typical norm. It's a different level of consciousness that people are going into to the point of, nigga, I don't want to work a 9 to 5. I don't want no 9 to 5.
I mean, why should you waste your time for someone else's?
A whole 8 hours. A whole 8 hours, bro. Nah, bro. Nah. With the whole 9 to 5 situation, they say you have what, a 24-hour day. That's bullshit. I remember that awakening when they said that's bullshit. You don't have a 24-hour day. You have a 12-hour day. The rest is night. So what are you talking about? You've got a 24-hour day.
But you still got 24 hours a day. I mean, it's night, but you decide what you want to do. You can sleep or whatever you want to do.
Why do they call it night and day? And then they only count the days and not the nights. It's crazy. But then, okay, there's that concept. But then, if you look at it logically, like if we're being objective, that is the truth. We actually have a 12-hour day. 12 hours of this supposed day is day, where the sun is out. And then the rest is night. Yeah. You understand? So, supposed morning and afternoon is day. And then evening and midnight and the hours, that's still night. You understand? So it's just a slight mindfuck, a sleight of hand. You understand? That's happening with your time because time is very, very vital.
Time is all we have, eh?
Yeah, but also on that, I would say, that like 12 hour a day.
Yeah.
Okay, when you're talking about the day, I believe it's okay. It's on a Tuesday today.
Yeah.
That's like 12 midnight
Yeah.
till 12 midnight again.
Yeah.
So it's you who decide what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like now it's okay. As people, we think that okay, what is normal is to work during the day.
Yeah.
But no, anytime, bro.
Anytime is to work.
It's the system that I think that puts us on that
sleight of hand.
level, like during the day that's when you can do your shit because they want you to go home and rest so that you can come back and do shit for them tomorrow. But if you're doing your own shit, bruh, 12 midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, 3.
That's crazy because
Maybe you can even sleep during the day.
Yeah.
Work at night.
Work at night.
Depends
Yeah,
with
night.
what
Yeah,
works for
bro.
you check.
It's literally about how you utilize your time, and I think that most people are wanting more of their time.
Yeah.
They want more of their time to themselves.
It should be like that.
And it should be like that, bro. If you're really free, be free, bro. Like do what you're doing. Like you have skills that could be so beneficial to other people. But no, you're in the cubicle, you're in the office, you're just typing up a message, an email, a couple of this, that. You're not really living life. So again, what is living life?
Exactly.
You understand?
Yeah.
And people also have that desire to become what they truly want to create themselves as. Because there's, you know what? Here's another thing. Maybe you guys have a particular different opinion. But then I don't particularly believe you were only destined to be a particular thing. I believe that you were created with lots of potential. Then you choose your potential and then you create it yourself. So the whole concept of we are miniature creators, and we can create ourselves. We are very capable of creation. This whole world started in the mind. If you think about it, everything that has been created started in the mind. So there's this concept of the process of creation starts from the soul, the what the soul wants, what is its intention. Then for it to manifest physically, it starts into the mind. So the thought is planted into the mind by the soul, right? Because that's what it truly wants. The soul doesn't say this is right, this is wrong. It doesn't say I don't want to, I want to. It just does. It just becomes. It does not have time to it doesn't doubt itself. If it wants a certain experience, it wants a certain experience. Puts it into the mind. The mind starts thinking about the idea. And then it becomes a very powerful idea. Starts to manifest. What does the mind use to create? It uses the body, which is the physical part of who you are. Starts creating in the physical reality. You understand? So that in itself is like, yeah, man. Like I feel like, you see, us trying to live life, we trying to reach something, but then we think it's already set for us. But then we are the ones who are creating it unconsciously. But then if we were to create it consciously, it might be a different experience.
I mean, we come back to what it was, the question that he was asking earlier. I mean, it was a bit different maybe, but that's how I understood it. Is there something as like a true nature? You know, it comes back to that. Because you cannot say that you create your own. If you were created, it means there is already something that you were created for. You check. Because like anything, when you have an object, as you said, microwave or what, a microwave has a purpose. It serves a purpose. If you have a machine, if you have a machine, it means that machine first, the machine didn't come first. The purpose came first. And then the machine was like a response, like a solution to that problem. You check.
But then you see, this is where it comes again. But okay, we're not microwaves. No,
I mean, we are creation. We are people, like
But then I'm also saying like,
creatures or whatever.
I would see the universe in itself as a very spontaneous event. Everything happens spontaneously. So if you say there's a purpose, what if life in itself is the purpose? Nothing further. Everything else is just free will.
So the purpose is just to live.
No, life. What if the purpose of existence is life, or existence in itself?
Like to create life.
The creator knows itself as the creator, but has not created. Hence, by creating, by reflection, the creator knows itself continuously. It's almost like a divine dichotomy. It's like the creator is the creation in itself.
I think life is more of an enabler than like the purpose.
Don't you think life is existence itself?
I mean,
That's
this microphone exists, but it's not really alive in the way that I see things.
Yeah, in the way that you see things.
Yeah, like maybe if you're looking at other people with different perspectives as to what constitutes life, but for me, microphone isn't alive. It just exists and it has that purpose, similar to what he was saying earlier on, that the purpose came before the creation. That creation was created to fulfill a certain purpose.
Yes.
Yeah. Fuck.
It's a mind fuck.
I don't know where I was going now.
But then, yeah. So look, there's a whole lot of ways to look at this, and I think we've basically ran around a whole lot of topics that are very vital, and it's very good to hear different opinions about it. And clearly happy everybody had a little bit of an input on it. And you know, these are the type of topics that we should be actually engaging on. And I think this one opens like it opens a can of worms in itself, because you know there's a whole lot of angles that we can look at. There's specific topics that we can challenge individually, and then go more into depth with that. I think there's a lot of angles that we can actually give more depth into, and then see. Because I love doing my research. I fucking enjoy going to fucking go back into my archives and picking people's brains and We got a couple of great brains here as well. So I think we are destined for a lot. But yeah, man, the next topic probably we gonna jump onto ancient civilizations and spirituality in itself.
Wow,
So
spirituality.
yeah, that's gonna be a crazy one because we're gonna probably look at religion and how obviously religion played a huge part in our spirituality. I think that's a very important point because I think we'll be going back to like the core of who we are, like understanding like African traditions, ancient African gods, ancient Egyptian gods, Sumerian cultures, and the Dogon people, the South Africans, the South African history as well. We might just hear a little bit more about some Ivory Coast, and just going back to like the Tibetans and all of that.
Man, like just something on the side.
Yeah,
You said something earlier on, and I thought about it.
yeah,
Like, this whole thing of saying there's black people, there's white people, and then there's Chinese and Indians and shit. Like, I find that so funny because
yeah.
first we go on with color, and then all of a sudden we're Chinese,
Yeah.
we're Indian. Like what happened to just saying, there's African people, there's Caucasian people.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm saying that right.
No,
But that whole mix up, like
it's segregation, man. It's
But
a
I mean,
separation.
why would you even say there's African people and there's Caucasian and because
the
like
first
from the moment you start putting separation, then you can go further and say, oh no, this one is Chinese, this one is Indian.
I think that one. Wait, I think that one we're still going to jump onto that because we got a certain section for that actually. So it's got to do with social groups.
So just to clear it up,
Yeah, social
I'm not
groups.
saying in a matter of
Yeah,
the code, exactly just the title itself. Right? We'll start with black people and say these are black people.
yeah,
And from then on we'll say these are white people.
yeah,
And then those are named by colors. And then all
Yeah.
of a sudden we go grouped by colors. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden we'll go and say the Chinese.
So I'm just saying the
Right.
Asians,
Not really, like if we were gonna go by color,
the yellows.
The yellows.
Right? If we're gonna be constant on that, yeah, let's say the black people, white people,
Yeah.
certain color, certain color.
Yeah. No, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. You know what? Look, the main angle for the next one is only looking at what those particular civilizations had in common. Like, there's a lot of gaps in our history. Okay, just to even leave this as food for thought. Apparently, our civilization as humans, as sapiens, is not that old. Apparently, just over 20,000 years. But then recently, they've found a lot of evidence that there've been civilizations 50,000 years, 70,000 years, 500,000 years to almost a million years older than the current on record. So that's actually an interesting part of the ancient civilization topic. So we gonna be on that, and we're gonna be jumping on that. So Mark, my man, I love that. Hopefully we see you guys join the discussion. If you want to join, holla.
Yeah, holla.
Yeah, man, you might have some shit some angles of information that we don't have. So I would really appreciate that. The chance would definitely appreciate that. Holla back. Peace, love, and happiness.
Peace
Stay
out.
blessed.